I have my microphone plugged in and my earbuds are plugged into my microphone. So if you need me for something, don't turn your mic on and yell at me. I won't hear you. If you turn your screen on and wave, then I will see you and I will be able to come be of assistance. I would like to play around in the spirit of what we were just saying. And I had kind of been thinking about it anyway. So it was like a nice timing. We all sort of feel this way about playing around with a little bit of stuff that's going to do more like very focused strength and stabilizing plus Pilates movement. I'd like to play around with a little bit of different ab work than we've done previously. And if it works, great. And if you're like, I hated that, let me know. We never have to do it again. That being said, you might want to grab a blanket for underneath your knees. I always keep one handy. They're definitely not mandatory, but they're nice to have. And you might end up using it for your back as well. And I think that's it. Water if you want it. I'm just going to change my screen view so I can make sure that if you do need to frantically wave me down that I can see you. In the meantime, if you would like to make your way onto your backs and bring your knees into your chest and take a nice big breath in through your nose. And exhale it out through your mouth. Okay, never mind. I can't figure out how to do a big screen. Just nice big breath in through your nose. And I will turn this way around. Oh, also, I have terribly horrendous allergies today. So if you're hearing me like sniffle and sneeze and all those gross things that happen with allergies, I'm not sick. And I've taken my medication and it just sometimes doesn't work. So giving yourself a nice little massage here across your backs. You can take those legs in your hands, and if you'd like to sort of circle the thighs around and in. And I just want you to notice as your legs come closer towards you that your low back wants to head towards the floor possibly. And then as you open and circle those legs out and let the weight of your legs sort of pull you forward, your pelvis maybe wants to tip forward. And so allowing those organic movements to just exist in the body. Oh, I'm going to sneeze, sorry. Sorry about that. And circle them around and then take it the opposite direction. As soon as I heard about the storm, like checking the weather, storms happening yesterday and today, I was like, this is it. This is it for me. The humidity is going to be a lot. And then once you've completed that, you're going to land with your legs back at center. Let's start with the shoulder work. Let's like right out of the gate, let's kind of go there. So you're going to roll over to one side. You're going to bring yourself up. So this is the part that's going to be maybe like a little bit tedious. And then it's going to move into some other stuff here. So I just want you to take a second and reach your arms out here. I'm going to sit nice and low out beside you. And you don't have to be crisscross like this. I'm just sitting like this so that I'm still in the camera. And just with one arm, you're going to give like a nice internal and external and check in with the range there. And then on the other side, you're going to do the same thing. So for me, when I move through my right side, it's like much more limited. So know that I know what we're talking about here. And then you're going to bring that down. So just giving it a little shake it out. So we're going to take, let's start with your right arm. And we're going to bring the right arm. It's going to be internally rotated and it's going to be across your body. And we're just going to sort of do like a nice long swing. So it's going to be internally rotated across your body. You're going to start to reach that arm up and back. As it reaches up behind you, you're going to keep reaching it like someone's pulling your arm out of your socket on a backwards diagonal. Bring that arm down, let it be internally rotated. And then it's going to sweep up and back. Now, if this is feeling like reasonable in the body and you would like to add on, you're going to take your other hand and you're going to sort of like you're giving yourself your own little Thai massage here. So you're going to place as your right arm is across your body, your left hand is just going to sort of wiggle around there's a really lovely long muscle that comes down through the side of your neck. So don't like really, really hit yourself, but you'll kind of feel it as you reach the arm and turn your head, it kind of pops a little bit. So you're going to take your hand and slide your hand down as your arm moves. And then as the arm reaches up, you're going to keep sliding that arm across and down the back of your shoulder. And then the arm releases. Bring the arm back in front. Fingers come back up towards the top of the neck. They slide down as your arm reaches. It's going across the top of that shoulder and then back as you reach the arm up. And then bring it down and across. Two more. Slide it down. Reach it up and back. Open, 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 and down. And then one more time, slide it. Give it an open. And then bring it down. Give that arm a little, shoulder a little shake. Let's go to the other side. So left hand, this is my left. It's internally rotating, so it's turning in towards my body, coming across to my right hip. And we'll just do the movement first. You're going to sweep that arm and then take it and reach it up and back, up and back, up and back behind you. Bring it down and in. It internally rotates. It reaches up and back, up and back, up and back. So if that feels like enough, just with reaching the arm, feel free to go there. If you'd like to palpate, you're going to let your right ear draw down towards your right shoulder. Don't squish it, just that's the side your head's going to. You're going to take your right fingertips, and again, as you lean over, you'll sort of feel like there's a part that's just out more than the other. That's where you're going to start with those hands, and then as your arm sweeps and opens, your arm follows that line, or your hand follows that line, goes across the top of your shoulder, and then reaches out with your arm. Left arm internally rotates, hands are going to slide down, and then they follow across the shoulder. You can maybe go in, you can go back, explore what works for you. Bring it down and in. From the neck across and down. Ooh, there's like a nice sweet spot there where it's like, oh, up and back. 2 more here. So really what we're doing is we're allowing our bodies to find mobility with mindful tension, which is what we want to do, versus just sort of like sitting in a stretch, which is going to pull your muscles into a space that they don't have support. And if you're lengthening our muscles and our ligaments into a place that doesn't have support, then they're just going to rebound, or they're going to get angry because they're like, we're out here, but nothing's supporting us. So that's why I like to do it this way. Okay, and then give your arm a little shake out. You're going to take those arms out again and give them a little internal, external, see if they're moving a little freer. We're going to use our own body weight now to create some tension. So take your arms out, thumbs are facing up, like you're giving yourself a little hitchhiker moment, and then you're going to squeeze those arms. Your left palm is going to face up, right palm is going to face down, and then squeeze your arms, squeeze and squeeze and squeeze them. You're going to start to take them, so left arm goes up and right arm goes down, squeeze them, and then bend. I'm going to turn behind myself. So it's like you want your palms to touch, but if you notice, I don't even have that range in my shoulders, so they're not going to touch, but I'm flexing through my arms as I'm here. I'm squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. I keep squeezing my arms. I super slowly lengthen straight up and down, squeeze, 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 and then bring my arms back to center, thumbs are back up. This time my right palm is going to rotate up. My left palm is going to rotate down. I'm squeezing my arms. Left arm reaches down, right arm reaches up. It's like I'm a superhero shooting through the air. Then they bend, but even as the elbows bend, I'm still squeezing through my arms, like really trying to show off those muscles. Ribs are staying down and in. Now, super slowly, we're not releasing our muscles, but we're releasing the shape. So we're back to that straight up, straight down. And then we come back to center, where if your thumbs were lifted, they'd both be pointing up. Left arm rotates up, right arm rotates down. Find that lovely long line. And you could be kneeling here. Yeah, you don't have to be crisscross applesauce. You could be standing as well. Bending through those elbows as if your hands want to meet behind your back. Keep squeezing through those arms and then push, lengthen, like your right arm could rocket through the floor. Left arm could rocket to the ceiling. Bring yourself back side to side. Left arm draws down, right arm draws up. Squeeze through those muscles. Bend through the elbows as if you want to touch your hands. You know that we often do this in yoga, but I don't actually want you to release your hands. I want you to keep squeezing your muscles. Lengthen them out. Give them a squeeze, 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 and come back to center. Let's do one more each side. So keep turning on those arms. Left arm goes up towards the ceiling. Right arm goes down. They're still active. We bend at our elbows. And that's the tricky part, right? Is bending at our elbows, but keeping the tone in the muscles, because that's where they're going to not want to be active because we're lengthening them. Reaching up. Well, one side is lengthening, one side is shortening. And out. One more time. Reaching up. Bending through the elbows to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Lengthening the arms out. Bring them back side to side. And then gently release. Give your shoulders a little shake. And then again, let's check in and give that rotation. I bet if we went to the beginning and saw my first one and then fast forwarded now, there's more range. So I hope you're feeling that too. Okay, we're going to come on to hands and knees now. So if your wrists are not feeling super fabulous, you can always do this against a wall. You can always come on to fists, but it's kind of now going to start to move into this Really lovely experience of strength training and Pilates. I love how things mix together. So you're going to come onto hands and knees. You're going to walk those knees back and then pitch forward a little bit so it's like you're in a kneeling plank. And ever so slightly, you're going to spindle your fingertips in like just a little bit, like even less than you would do if you were doing a push-up, because we're not going to do a push-up. And how do I want to do this? No, that's how I want to do that. Okay, so we're going to keep our arms straight, but we're never going to hyperextend our elbows. We're going to keep a bit of a bend. You're still keeping your glutes on, and your abs are starting to kick in for you here. Your toes could be tucked or untucked. It's up to you. Now, keeping the arms straight, you're going to let your chest draw down. It's called retraction. And then as if you're moving right from your sternum, right from your breastbone, you're going to push the floor away and just like ever so slightly round through the top of the body. Not tons, just a little bit. Relax down through it just a smidgen. Remember, your glutes are still on here. Don't let them release. And then like the sternum is trying to pop up behind you. So if you can see, I am rounded, but I'm not like in a cat pose. Now, as your chest draws down, can you feel like your arms are trying to rotate away? So the hands aren't actually going to move. It's like you're sort of corkscrewing the energy as your chest draws down. And then as your sternum draws in, you're going to try to corkscrew the arms the other way, drawing that sternum in. Remember, your belly and your glutes are on here. As you inhale, let your sternum draw down. Feel like you're externally rotating, so the inner eyes of your armpits are trying to look at each other. And then as you breathe out, can we rotate those arms around, draw in with the sternum? I'm shaking as I do it. Let's do 2 more here. We're drawing that chest down, but we're keeping the elbows straight. It's the energy that's externally rotating. And then as we breathe out, we're trying to internally, so the sides of the armpits are coming around. We're lifting up through the sternum, spreading through the back of the shoulder blades. One more time. Starts to turn that core on too. Exhale to reach it out. Gently bring yourself down onto forearms, and then we're just going to take our first plank together. So if you would like to stay down on elbows and knees, you can. If you would like to lift those up, those thighs up, you can. I'm literally shaking. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you dig your feet into the floor? Like, don't let your toe mounds be light. Really draw them in and hug them in. Even if your knees are on the floor, hug your knees in towards you. Hug your elbows in towards the center. You're here for 3. You're here for 2. You're here for 1. Take a little break. Whew. Gently roll yourself all the way up. We're going to come onto that left side. So we've worked a bit of range. We're building strength in that range now. Let's come onto the left arm. You're going to plant your left hand down on the floor. So spread those fingertips. We're going to take a second to, and I know we do this together, kind of beach vacation it out through the left side. Then really push the arm down. And as you do that, can you feel that wrapping of the shoulder blade onto your back and that drawing of the ribs up and in? Inhale to let it release down. And then feel like you're really pushing and opening out through that collarbone. Inhaling. And another little like hot tip for you here. Make sure you're not too close, right? Can we see how like that's maybe a little too close? I kind of want my elbow, we do want 90, but if you want to think about it like just a little like 92, you'll probably end up in the right alignment. One more time down, push it up, and then it's up to you. You can keep the knees down, lift your hips up, take your side plank here. I was a little far out. Push that floor away. Keep pushing, keep opening through the collarbones, squeezing through your glutes. You could have 1 leg long, you could have 2 legs long for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, bring it down. Let's right away flip to that second side. So your neck, if you don't love how your neck feels in a side plank, look down. That's going to help like loads. Right arm comes to the floor, plant the right palm, push the floor away from you, draw into those ribs. And then again, let's beach vacation it out because that's the exact opposite of what we did. And then push and see if you can find that. Now, again, my right shoulder, right, which is why this is so relevant to me too, likes to fall in. I have a really hard time with bringing it back. So that all in and of itself is already a ton of work and I already feel my obliques. So hopefully, like I'm telling you what I'm feeling because I'm hoping you're feeling it too. Push away, hug that forearm in. 2 more, release it out. And then exhale, push, draw in, hug it in. One more time. Around. And then once you feel that stability, now maybe pushing into the floor is already enough for your shoulders and your neck, or maybe lifting your hips up. Let's stay kneeling for now. Let's go for 10, 9, and continually push the floor. Continually draw those ribs in for 3, for 2, for 1. Bring it down. Give yourself a little shaky shake. For our intermission, before we do that all again, let's bring ourselves onto the floor. Let's take our feet. I'm just going to move my shirt out of the way just a little bit so you can fully see my pelvis here. Hip bones and pubic bones are level. Feet are planted on the floor. Let's take the arms and draw them down beside us. Inhaling to be nice and neutral. As you exhale, let's scoop through that belly so the low back finds the floor without your glutes. Inhale to release back to neutral, hip bones, pubic bone level. As you breathe out, we're starting to really cultivate that nice scoopy belly. Inhaling back. And as we ice cream scoop through our low abs, let's make sure the ribs don't flare up either. Can we keep drawing them down and in? Inhale. Now there's no glutes here for this, yeah? Exhale. Let's scoop everything down like you're trying to close the gates between your hip and your bottom rib. 2 more. Inhale it out. Exhale. Hit down. That's so important. One more time. Inhale. As you exhale, find that scoopy belly. Keep drawing the pelvis the pelvis and the belly nice and wide, pushing your feet through the floor. Now fire your glutes as you roll yourself up in space. Take a breath in at the top, press those feet down, hug your heels towards your glutes, and then as you breathe out, roll down one vertebrae at a time. Taking a pause at the bottom to fully release to neutral. Breathe in. As you breathe out, scoop through that belly, push your feet through the floor. Use your glutes to lift your hips up one vertebrae at a time. At the top, take a breath in. So we're trying to really find that scoop at the top here as well. Exhale, articulate your spine. This is your little spinal massage moment all the way down to the floor. Breathing in, breathing out, hollowing through that belly, pushing the feet down, using your glutes now as long as your abs are still on. Take a breath in. I feel like I sound like a cartoon character and roll down because my sinuses are so clogged. One more time, breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to lift up or we're going to hold it here. Now, can we really, really think about everything from like pubic bone down towards our feet as trying to do its best to just like be on. So all 10 toes are pressing into the floor and then the whole surface of your foot is pushing into the floor. So if you were to have paint on your foot, you know how like little kids do that to leave little footprint pictures? Can you imagine you're doing that or like you're pushing your foot down? Keep hugging your heels into your glutes so your actual footprint that you're leaving on the floor is going to be a bit behind your real foot because you're hugging back. The middle of the thighs are reaching forward. Our glutes are on here and our abs are on here. Okay, so we're going to inhale to start to roll down. So we're going to get really curvy through our spines. And as soon as you feel the back ribs touch, not the glutes, you're going to lift yourself back up. Really super, super scoop and hollow through the belly. The back of the ribs find the floor. And then you're like, I left it up there, and you lift back up. Yes? So it's not a drop and a lower. It's a scoop, find the ribs, and then change your mind. Scoop down, find your ribs, push to the floor, change your mind. And so as you're doing this the whole entire time, remember pubic bone down. Like I know the tops of the thighs are moving, but can we really think about the relationship of the feet on the floor, that hugging in and that lengthening out through the middle of the thigh? At this point, if you're ready to lift your arms up, you totally can. Make sure you squeeze them, squeeze them. So remember, we're getting scoopy and then we lift up. We're getting nice and scoopy and then we lift up, but your glutes never touch. For 5, let's go. For 4, I'm hoping you're starting to feel backs with those legs. For 3, it's pretty exciting. For 2, scoop and then lift. One more time, scoop and lift it up. Now you're going to stick your bum out lower a little bit. Lift back up 10. Drop, lift 9. Drop, lift 8. Drop, lift 7. So your bum is doing a little release and squeeze for 5. But your footprint on the floor is still happening here. 3, 2, last 1. Lift it up, hold it here. Take a breath in. Gently roll all the way down. Give your legs a little shake, roll to one side, bring yourself back up onto hands and knees. So we're going to do a little circuit here. So bringing yourself up onto your hands and knees, you're in that kneeling sort of plank arrangement here. So your glutes are definitely on to support you.
We don't want to just let them not be existing there. And I know you know where your glutes are because you just found them. We're keeping our arms really nice and not like so straight. And again, if you can see, my arms are a good example of a hyperextended elbow. We want to keep the inner parts of the eyes looking at each other as a home base. Glutes are on. I'm reaching long from head to tail, and I'm trying to keep my ribs in. Now, as I let my chest draw through my hands, I'm allowing my arms to sort of internally circle around towards each other as I drop through. I'm still not hyperextending. I'm just rotating it around. And then as I breathe out, my sternum leads the way as I draw back. Belly glutes are still on, and I'm trying to rotate those arms, so I'm creating loads of space through the back of my shoulders, but I'm not puffing up into a cat pose. As I inhale, I'm allowing my chest to draw through the hands, internally spiraling those arms, so I'm kind of like sinking in and shining forward. And then as we breathe out, we're drawing our sternums in. Belly is on, glutes are on. You should definitely, hopefully, feel abs here as you're trying to separate across the shoulders. As your arms internally spiral, you can also let those shoulder blades hug down your back. So they're in a bit of a depressed alignment here. That's not a judgment. That's the name of the movement. And then as we exhale, we're circling the shoulder blades out and around as we puff into our sternum. Glutes, abs on here. 2 more. Inhaling to draw down and through. Exhale, circle it around and up. 1 more time. Inhaling down and around. I'm hoping you're feeling stuff happening here. Exhale, sternum draws in. Rotate through those arms as you push the floor away. Then bring yourself down. Now, if you're happy to stay on your hands and knees here, you can. If you're ready for your full plank, go for it. If you want to stay down on forearms and knees, be where you need to be where you feel the most. Like I feel the most actually down here because I can really dig my toes in and hug them in. So whatever version of plank you are holding right now, just like we practice putting our full footprint in the floor, can you push your toes down? And it's like you're trying to drag your toes in towards you. At the same time, you're pushing the floor away and you're hugging the heels of the hands in. Ooh, so I'm going to do it from down here so I can make sure that I don't collapse in my shoulders for 10, for 9, for 8, for 7, for 6, 5. Keep pushing the floor away. 4, glutes are on here. 3, spine is long. For 2, last 1, lower down wherever you are. Take a little bit of a shell stretch. Breathe it in, breathing it out. Then bringing ourselves all the way up. Let's come back onto that left forearm. So there's no rule that says your opposite arm, the free arm, has to reach up, has to go to your hip. Like it can also be on the floor to offer stability for you. Let's place, pardon me, the full palm down. Let's kind of get ready because we're going to be lifting up into a plank. And then before we do that, let's like beach vacation 2020 in all of our homes. And then as you breathe out, push the floor away and find that spiraling connection of the shoulder onto the back as you hug the forearm in. So it's like growing you nice and long and offering support. If your neck hates this, look down. Inhaling to release that. So this is our sort of like chest through hands situation. And then bring the shoulder blade onto the back as you push the arm into the floor and hug it in. 1 more time. So this is working range of motion and then stability in the range of motion of our shoulders and neck too. Find where you need to be, and then when you're ready, you can lift the hips up. Now it's round 2, so if you'd like to lift up into a full side plank, you can. Arm can be up, arm can be down, gaze can be wherever you need it to be. But most important is what's happening to that shoulder. So if you lift your legs and lose the shoulder, then come back down to home base. Glutes are still on here for 5. For 4, push the whole hand. 3, hug it in. For 2, last 1, lower down. Let's right away find our second side. It's getting warm. So right arm is coming onto the floor. Same bit of business, planting down through that hand, left hand on your hip. You're going to inhale to relax into Beach Vacation 2020. And then as you breathe out, bring the shoulder, slide it onto your back, just like we practiced in that drawing down, depressed alignment of it, yeah? Pushing down and then hugging it in. Inhaling to release, that kind of like hanging out situation. And then exhale, push into the floor, hug it in. 2 more, inhale down. So when we push, that's the activation, right? That's the work. 1 more time. Here we go. Find your stability. And then when you're ready, you can lift up through your hips. You can lift up through your whole legs. Arm can come up. Gaze can be forward. Gaze can be down. Truly whatever's going to offer the most stability for you. Let's be here for 5. Keep pushing down. 4. Glutes are on 3. Hug the arm in for 2. Last 1. Bring it down. Flip all the way over onto your backs because we know where we're going now. Feet are planted into the, pardon me, into the floor. I switched too quickly for my sinuses to keep up with me. Feet are planted on the floor, pubic bone, hip bones level. Take your breath in. Right away, your arms can be up at the top, arms squeezed if you'd like to. As you breathe out, start to scoop through the belly. Push the floor away. Once you find that scoopy core, then you push your feet through the floor. Then you lift your hips up. We're going to right away go into those little pulses of the roll down. So as you inhale, you're going to try to scoop and tuck so that your low ribs find the floor. Push your feet down. Use your glutes to lift back up. So it's not a hip hinge. We're like really trying to find a contraction through the front of the body, and then we lift and we open it back up. That's going to be really important because I would like to explore half roll back stuff with you today for abs. So we're finding this shape here, then lifting it up. Go for a little scoop and lift. Scoop and hollow, lift it up. So you might visually not see a huge change in my body because our spines are still like a structure, but it's the energetic of it, right? Like that I'm actively trying to really hollow in and then lift. We're going for 2. Keep pushing the floor away. Imagine there's a ball between your thighs. Now we switch. You stick your bum out, lower just an inch, lift up, lower an inch, lift up, down and lift. Down and lift. Now, as you're doing this one, we're trying to keep the ribs drawing in, even though we're not concaving, right? Even though we're not curling. Push your whole foot into the floor. Find the inner line of your pants here, squeezing into those arms for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, last 1, hold it here, 10, 9, 8, squeeze everything, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, draw all the way down. Nice job. Give yourself a little rock and roll. Grabbing the back of one of your thighs, can you bring yourself all the way up? So a few things I would like to play with our abs. We're going to start lying down, and then we're going to bring ourselves up. So if you are fortunate enough to be near a piece of furniture, that's always great because it can provide you a little bit of feedback. If you have a ball, like a squishy ball, that's great, or a blanket. So this is sort of your like PSA to go grab a blanket if you don't have one already. And it's fine if you don't have one. But if you can, that would be great. Okay, let's roll all the way down. So we work a lot in imprint when we work together. It's nice to work on the planking because we're opening up through the whole line of the body, especially if we're sitting all day. But the reason that we imprint is how it's targeting the low abs and how it's supporting your back. And there's sometimes I'm giving you like a little intermission in case you have to grab stuff. And sometimes in the Pilates world or in the like abdominal work world, there's this conversation about what's harder, what's not. So as we're working together on the floor, if you're finding that it's actually a lot harder for you to keep your hip bones and pubic bone in one line, feel free to go there. If you're feeling like your back is bothering you, feel free to go and work from neutral where you have that little ladybug house, which we have talked about for sure. That being said, if you scoop through your belly and you feel more work happening in that way, then live there too, right? So it's sort of like now we have lots of tools and you can play with them to find what works best for you. Okay, that was your little intermission. So let's start neutral, hip bones, pubic bone level. Hands are going to come down beside us. We're going to take a breath in through the nose, if you can breathe through your nose today, and exhale out through your mouth. And as we breathe out, that's when our pelvic floor is drawing up. As we inhale, our pelvic floor, imagine it like a pancake, pubic bone to coccyx, sort of softens down and out through the base of your pelvis. And then as you exhale, it's drawing up. So just making sure that we're not like squeezing, that it's a constant state of flow. We're also, as we breathe out, our pelvic floor draws up. We're thinking wide across our hip bones, across our belly button, so that it's not bubbling up at the midline. That's how we can sort of like give damage to our abdomen. We want to think wide and flat. Last little bit of business is as we breathe out, our rib cage is going to want to draw down. Can we allow the rib cage to draw down? And as we inhale, we're trying to breathe into the space behind us, not up into our chest.
Exhaling all the pieces of that pie. Arms can be up, arms can be down. Take your breath in. As you breathe out, can you stay neutral? Can you lift one leg up to a tabletop for me? You're going to inhale to lower that leg down, and as you exhale, your second leg is going to lift. So we did this last week, I think, a little bit of a march. And I just want to march it out because I want you to notice if you're feeling any wibbling or wobbling across your pelvis. Can we keep that pelvis really, really nice and flat? Can we keep it really nice and still, and not just on the way up, but on the way down as well? Notice if you want to hold your breath, and can you make sure you're breathing now? It might be nicer for you to exhale on the way down. I really don't mind, as long as you're inhaling and exhaling. And mostly I want you to make sure that that pelvis isn't budging even a little bit. And in order to keep it still, we have to be connected to that space, pubic bone to belly button. Nice job here, team. One more. You're going to lift that right leg up. Now, this time, remember, we're still neutral. So hip bones and pubic bone are level with each other. And then as you breathe out, can you lift your second leg up? So as you lifted your second leg, or maybe your toes are still on the floor, that's fine. Maybe they're hovered. That's an option as well. Can you make sure you didn't overextend through your ladybug house or suddenly squish back into your neutral? Or into your imprint, sorry, we're trying to keep hip bones, pubic bone level. Unless you're making a choice, that's fine. But wherever we go, we want to be there on purpose. Can we keep our pelvis nice and level today? And as we breathe out, you're going to start to lower your right leg down to the floor, but don't actually touch the floor. And then exhale, lift it up. Take a quick breath in. As you breathe out, your left leg is going to lower down to the floor. Now fire up through that whole leg. Can we not actually touch our toes to the floor? Breathe out, pull that leg back up. Quick inhale, exhale, start to lower that leg down. Don't let it actually touch the floor. Take a quick inhale and then exhale to pull that leg up and in. Keep going. So last week, I believe we did this from an imprinted place, which is when your low back would be connected and scooping to the floor. Today, we're exploring it as our sort of warm up for a deep transverse in a neutral. So if you're working in neutral here like this today, and you're like, you know what, I actually don't think I feel as much work, feel free to take the imprint, yeah? Breathing in, exhaling to breathe it out. Inhale, exhale to move the leg. Quick breath in, and then exhale. One more time to the right. Quick breath in. Exhale to bring that leg up. One more time, breathe in. As we breathe out, left leg lowers towards the floor, but don't let it actually touch. And then bring that leg in, freeze. Now, if your hip flexors are dying, you could always turn your legs out or let the legs drop down. You're going to keep your legs where they are. You're still neutral. Take your fingers, interlace your hands behind your head. Elbows are going to lift. Give your head a little wiggle in your hands to make sure your neck and your sternum and your collarbones are really nice and gentle, but the rib cage is still connecting down. You're still neutral here. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to curl up because the ribs slide down, but don't let anything change through your pelvis. You're still nice and flat. Inhale to lengthen upper body back. Don't let that pelvis move. Exhale to curl it up. Inhale to lengthen back. Exhale to curl. And so as you're curling here, can you notice for me if you kind of want to crunch in? And I would actually love if we resisted that temptation because that is more related to momentum. And what I would like us to do is focus on that nice neutral. Inhale to lengthen it back. Exhale to curl. Now, if you're feeling nice and coordinated as you curl up, one of your legs lowers, now it can touch the floor. So again, I know we did this last week. We're revisiting it, but we're revisiting from a different pelvic placement. Exhale. As your body goes back, make sure the pelvis is not rocking and rolling with you, which is the hardest part, right? Is keeping it neutral and still. Inhale to lengthen back. Exhale, and your head is changing, right? As you go back, you look up to the ceiling. As you curl up, you're looking through the thighs. Inhale back. Exhale. Inhale up and back. Exhale to curl. We're going to the left. Can we do one more to each side, please? Exhaling it up to the left. Exhale to curl. Inhale to take it up and back. You're going to exhale, curl up and pause. Now, if your shoulders and head are like totally over this, you could always bring yourself down. You're still working through the low abs. You're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, start to take your right toes down and away. They're pushing into the floor. Now, if your upper body is back, you're just going to press and hold your neutral and think wide thoughts until we're done. If you're up in your ab curl, you're going to pulse it up right through center. Push the right toes through the floor and make sure that pelvis stays level for 5,
for 4, for 3, for 2. Hold your curl, pull your right leg in, breathe in. As you breathe out, your left toes find the floor. Now, again, you could be down on your back. That's fine. You're going to push your toes down like cray-cray. You're going to think wide across the pelvis. If you're up in your ab curl, we're going to pulse it out. Pulse it out. Breathe and breathe. For 6, for 5, push your toes down. Check in with your pelvis. For 3, for 2, for 1, pull the legs in, lower down. Give yourself a little rockola side to side. Breathing in and breathing out. You can take that rock and roll all the way over to one side, bring yourself up, or you can bring yourself all the way up to seated. So you're going to step those legs out so they're fairly far away from you, and I'm going to get a little bit naked for you so you can see my pelvis properly. So that was neutral, right? We were all stabilizing in neutral. If we throw it back to when we first were doing our hip bridges, that was rolling through imprint, right? So I want us to know that those were two different things. Now, if you kind of know right out of the gate that your low back is feeling really tight and cranky, you're going to take a blanket or a pillow or a ball or whatever, and you're just going to roll it up, and you're going to kind of head it towards your pelvis so that you have a little bit of support there, yeah? The other thing you can do, and I want to give you these mods now so I don't have to do them necessarily while we're working together. I want you to see them. I'm hoping you can see this. My toes are pressed into the wall, and I'm going to be using that as leverage to scoop back. So I have an opening through the front of my hip, and I'm pushing my feet into the wall, which gives me a little bit of leverage and a little bit more connection. Okay, so those are some different mods that you can play with. I feel confident about this. I feel like we can all find something here for us. So you're going to take your hands to the backs of your thighs to start, and you're going to sit up nice and tall. So again, when we started at the beginning of class, we were working on scooping backwards without using our glutes, and I want us to do that again here. So we're going to take a breath in. Hands are lightly on the back of your thighs. Can you feel like your tailbone is trying to tuck underneath you? Your belly's trying to scoop and hollow, scoop and hollow, scoop and hollow until you end up back in space. Notice I'm not here. I'm not holding on to my legs. My hands are just there like I could take them away. Take one more breath in, and then we're going to scoop and bring ourselves upright. Taking an inhale. As we breathe out, let's feel like we're rolling our pelvis, and we're doing that scooping and flattening motion with our pelvis so that we are rolling to the back of our tailbone. I'm not holding on super strong. They're just there as a guide. Breathe in, and then exhale, scoop. Feel like it's coming right from your low abs. It pulls you up. Breathe in. As you breathe out. So again, you could have your feet pressing against the wall. You could have a blanket at your low back just to sort of feel like a bit of support. Breathe in. Breathe out as you scoop and pull yourself up. If you're feeling nice and stable here, your arms are going to reach forward. Squeeze them into fists. Breathe in. Breathe out. Scoop and bring yourself back. Take an inhale. Exhale, scoop and pull yourself up. Breathe in. Exhale, scoop through the low belly. Ribs are still drawn in. Breathe in. Scoop deeper. Pull yourself upright. Inhale here. Exhale. Alternative places for your legs are out or long. Long is kind of tricky. Scoop and pull yourself up. Breathe in. As you breathe out. Now, if you cannot sit up tall all by yourself, and by yourself, I mean when you sit up tall, it's kind of like a crunchy through the low back. You're going to want to lift your hips up. Breathe in, which is why the bent knee is good. Exhale. Scoop and roll. Breathe in. Breathe out. Draw yourself up. 2 more. Inhale. Remember, feet could be against the wall. You could have a little blanket at your back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, lift yourself up. We're going to hold the next one. Breathe in. Breathe out. Scoop, tuck, roll, and then pause. So if you're feeling awareness in your low back, totally makes sense because we're working our psoas. If you're feeling crampy, super doesn't want to be here, bring yourself forward, take a little break. Push your feet against the wall if you are there, and if you're not there, give it a try. We're going to stay right where we are. We're going to inhale in. We're going to exhale out. Think about scooping a little bit more, and it's like the energy is going up behind you, around, and then scooping in. Reaching here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Bring yourself all the way up and forward. Take a little break. Big breath in here. Big breath out. We're going to add to that. So again, giving yourself a little second, sort of like, whew. And we've done so much Pilates together at this point that if this isn't working for you, please feel free to dip into something else that we've done. together. Maybe it's lying on your back and adding an oblique twist that way, if this is like super not working for you. Okay, so knees can be bent, legs can be long, arms can be reaching, they can be behind your thighs. You're gonna take your breath in from the back of your pelvis and the front of your pelvis. You're gonna scoop and tuck yourself down here. Now we're gonna take those arms and we're just gonna cross them across our chests. Your legs can be pressed against a wall. Your knees could be bent. They could be bent on the floor, right? Whatever's going to feel reasonable for you. You're going to hopefully start to feel a bit of an opening through the front of the hip. That's what I want you to think. Even though we're like scooping, it's like we're trying to spread the front of the thigh open. And you're totally holding here, and I'm hoping it's feeling pretty reasonable. Now, can we work on keeping that pelvis stable? You're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, can you twist the upper body around to the right? And as you do that, keep that right hip anchored, or left hip anchored, sorry. Breathe in, and then scoop and pull yourself back to center. Inhale here, we're going to the left. Twist the upper body towards the left. Keep the right hip level. Breathe in, breathe out, pull yourself to center. Inhale, around to the right. Legs could be long, they could be pushing against a wall to center. Breathe in, scoop around to the left. Inhale here. Exhale to center. Keep going. If you have a blanket, this one is pretty floofy, so if you have something hopefully stronger, it's just there. Breathe out, and then back to center to give yourself a little, like, it's kind of like a faux support because it's not actually doing very much to hold you up. It's just reminding you. Around to the left. Can we do one more to each side? You're scooping, you're hauling, you're rotating. It's like the whole side is trying to pull you around, and then that whole side pulls you back to center. One more time, around to the left, over to center. Reach those arms, pull yourself forward, fold it forward, take a little break. Breathing in. Now you're gonna take a quick little break there. If this is totally not working for you, you can always bring yourself down. We were working on those marches and toe taps, just like we did last week. You could do a toe tap and oblique twist, yeah? We did it last week, we did it today, so I'm hoping that's pretty fresh on the mind. Okay, we're going back to that twisty situation. However, can you crisscross your arms the opposite way to how you feel most comfortable? So I'm pretty sure I had my left arm on top. No. Yeah, see if you can remember which one you had, the uncomfortable way. Find where you need your legs to be. Knees can be bent. You could be pushing against a wall. Your legs could be nice and long. Maybe you have a blanket rolled up behind you or like a squishy ball. We're sitting up as tall as we can to start. And then again, like you're scooping and tucking underneath your pelvis to your half roll back. I'm not sitting in my body. It's quite a big. If we think about the shape of a capital C, that's what I want us to think here, capital C. Okay, breathe in. I'm already shaking. Upper body's going up and around, sort of like you're paddling a canoe around to the left, but can we keep the right hip heavy? Take a breath in. Breathe out, pull yourself back to center. We're going slow. Breathe in. Around to the right, like you're paddling your canoe down and around a figure 8 here. Breathe in. Up and around back to center. Quick breath in. Breathe out around to the left. That right hip stays heavy. Breathe in. You're scooping, scooping, scooping with all of your might. Keep moving. So really, we're being, again, that cut in half arrangement. You keep moving of everything belly button down stays really long, really reaching, really scoopy. You have to scoop through your low abs or your back is going to take all the work. Our upper body is lifting up and away. So as we're twisting here and reaching through those legs, it's like we're trying to elongate our vertebrae in this capital C shape. Are you on fire? I'm on fire. Around to the right. Remember, you have other options for abs. One more time to that left side. Take a breath in. Scoop and pull yourself all the way up. Melt it forward. Take a big breath in here. Take a breath out. Breathing it in. Breathing out, rolling yourself all the way up. Your shoulders a little rounding. Nice job, team. You can scoop the blanket out of the way for now. We're done with that, but we're not done with our abs yet. So we're going to revisit that shoulder work. Like nice and roasty toasty that we did at the beginning, but we're going to add a layer to it. So checking in with the relationship of your elbows, that they're not rotating forward, they're not rotating around, they're right in the middle. Kneeling plank, or if you have the strength, full plank is totally fine. I'm going to stay nice and kneeling. I do recommend that your feet are away from each other, not squeezing, especially if you're in a full plank. So can we super push the floor away? Not in a roundy sort of an arrangement, but like super push the floor away. Growing long from head to tail, draw those ribs in, and you're not like scooping your pelvis underneath you. You're not lengthening it all the way out. You're like right in the middle. Now, can we all extra push down with our left hand, super push, and without moving anything else, we're gonna tap our left shoulder with our right hand, hold it there, 3, 2, 1, bring it down, pause. If you need to take a step back, give your wrists a shake, that's fine. Otherwise, you're holding it at center. Okay, meeting at center again, breathe in. Both hands, we're gonna super push the floor away, but feel a little bit extra through that right side. Without moving through our hips, bring our left hand to touch our right shoulder. Keep pushing the floor away with the right side for 3, for 2, for 1. Put the left hand down, pause at center. If you need to take a step back, give it a shake. When you're ready, come back in. Finding center together, push the floor away. Remember, you could be in a full plank here, no problem, if that serves your body. Both hands are pushing, left hand gets extra strong. Let's keep the hips totally still. Keep pushing the floor away with the left side, right shoulder to left, right hand to left shoulder for 2. For 1, put it down. Give yourself a little shake of the wrist if you need. We're holding our center plank. When you're ready, come back and meet us. Both hands push away from the floor. Right arm pushes a little extra without shifting your hips. Left hand to right shoulder for 3. For 2, for 1, put the left hand down. Give yourself a little shake out if you need it. One more time each side. Glutes are super on here. Breathe it in. As you breathe out, right hand to left shoulder for 3, for 2, for 1. Pop it down. Give yourself a little shake if you need. When you're ready, bring it forward. Last time. Push the floor away. A little extra with the right. Left hand to right shoulder for 3, for 2, for 1. Bring it down. So much good work here. Breathe in, breathe out. We're gonna walk ourselves all the way forward onto our bellies, please. And we're gonna come all the way down. So again, in the spirit of scooping, so I'm just gonna fold my shirt up a little bit for you. We're gonna do a little bit more work into the back of the legs, a little bit of extension for the body, a little bit of movement, and then we're done. So you're gonna take your hands, you can interlace your fingers and place your palms down and let your head rest on your hands. Now, I'm gonna keep my head up so you can hear me, but know that your head is gonna be down. You're gonna take your legs mat distance apart and then rotate them so they look away from each other. And if we were to be really lazy here, for most of us, our hip bones are gonna roll into the floor. Although I would like us to keep a little hint of an awareness, can you find the capacity to find that scoopy pelvis and send the work towards your pubic bone? This means your glutes also have to be on here. So keep the pelvis scooping towards your pubic bone. Take a few breaths to draw the ribs in. And can we feel nice and wide across the tops of the shoulders? Remember, your head is glued to your fingertips. You're going to bend your knees, flex your feet, and pull your feet together in the shape of a frog. And you're going to squeeze those heels, like super squeeze the heels in as if you were squishing an orange. And I want you to notice as you did that, if your pelvis is ducked down to the floor, can we keep it towards pubic bone? And again, it's such a subtle movement. You won't be able to like see a huge difference in my body. Especially over camera, but there's a difference. So I'm towards my pubic bone. I'm drawing my belly, my ribs in. Head is onto my hands, shoulder blades on my back. I'm squeezing those heels and I'm trying to hug my heels in. Now, if I were to, let's do it wrong first. So can we all lift our legs really high off the floor as much as you can and just see how you sort of fall into your hips? Lower down, readjust. So find that pubic bone alignment, that drawing in of the heels, the hips, whoosh, all that good stuff. And then let's do it the not way we're going to do it again. So lift your hips up, let them go really high, and just notice how you tip towards your hip bones. So that's the way we're not going to do it, which means we're not going to lift the thighs really, really high. Okay, so this time, find all of your home base stuff again. So pubic bone drawing down towards the floor, heels are squeezing, feet are flexed, we have our hamstrings on, our glutes on, our quads are working, but they're lengthened, which is sort of tricky. And then head is facing down, shoulders wide. Now, without lifting super high, can you imagine like there's little puppet strings at the smiley part of your bum cheeks? And you're just gonna lift your thighs an inch up, but do not let your pelvis change. Stay towards your pubic bone. Lower the legs down just to tap, but do not release the tension. Keep the legs tense. Exhale to lift up. Inhale to release down just a little bit. And then exhale, dig into the heels, the glutes lift up. So it's not a huge movement here. Yeah, it's really tiny. And we're trying to avoid popping the thighs away from us, the heels away from us. It's like we're trying to lift our feet up towards the ceiling. And as we do it, You're not allowed to draw down towards your hip bones, which means you're keeping this really small and really precise. We're going for 3. We're going for 2. Remember, it's not a break at the bottom. Continue with the tension. You're going to lift your legs up and just hold them here. Hold them in their hover. Squeeze your heels more. Find your pubic bone. Draw your ribs in. You're holding here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Release down. Reach those legs nice and wide. Walk your legs in now so they're more parallel. Your legs could totally be together. If your low back has the range, it could be hip distance apart. Keep your fingers interlaced. Draw yourself down. And again, if it feels better to keep your legs wide, you can. I'm just giving you lots of options here. Still towards the pubic bone, keeping the work of those legs. Take a breath in as you breathe out. Give your fingers a little tug and make sure your shoulder blades roll onto your back like we've been practicing. Draw the ribs in, and then as you breathe out, you're lengthening out one long line up and out and forward. If your shoulders hate this, they can always come down beside you, yeah? Take a breath in. As you breathe out, lower down. But if you're happy here, you can stay with your hands down. Breathe in. As you breathe out, lift it up. Again, you have options for where you need to be so your shoulders and neck don't bother you. Breathe in. Breathe out, lower down. 3 more here, please. I'm going to keep my head facing this way so you can hear me and I'm not too muffled, but you're looking down to the floor. I would like us to please lift up on an exhale. Hold for a quick inhale and then exhale, lower down. 2 more, breathe in, breathe out, reach out and away, lift up to float. Inhale, lower down. Last one, reach out and away and hold. Now, if you're feeling really happy where you are, you're going to stay up in the torso. If you're not feeling super happy, you can grab your pillow or your blanket again, slide it underneath your forehead, and then hands to hips. So you have support here, yeah? Arms are reaching nice and long. Turn on those arm muscles. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Can we take the arms out beside us and then pause with them out beside us? And just like we did at the beginning, you're going to internally rotate your arms. Don't mind my little chicken wing on my other side. And then rotate on the right. Both of your arms are doing this, yeah? Rotate. Rotate. You're holding this extension of your upper body as you do this. Rotate. Rotate nice and slowly. You're holding that extension. Remember the work of your lower body that you already worked so hard on today. Rotate. Rotate. One more time. Rotate around. Rotate. Bring your hands back underneath you. Lower your body. Turn one cheek. If you need to take a shell stretch, feel free to take a shell stretch. Nice breath in and out. And then coming back to center here. So legs open out nice and wide, mat distance if they're not already. Finding the work of that abdominal tilt, firing through the legs, bend your knees, pull your heels together like a frog. Squeeze those heels in and commit to drawing the ribs in, not pushing into the floor, but rather like we could hover right off of it, like we're on a magic carpet. Keeping the work to the pubic bone, dig into those heels. You're going to lift your thighs up just to hover off of the floor and then lower them down for 10. Lift them up as you breathe out. Lower down for 9. Now your head is going to be down towards the floor. I'm keeping my head up so you can hear me, which makes it extra hard because I have to stay towards my pubic bone. And down. We're going for 5. Exhale to lift up. 4. Now as you lower, it's not a break. Keep the tension for 3. Working through the backs of the legs here for 2. One more time, lift up, hold. Now this time, keep squeezing the heels. Keep the thighs hovered. You're going to do a tiny little butterfly pulse wide for 10, for 9, for 8, for 7, for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2. Last one, hold it nice and tight. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it down. Let the legs go wide or parallel or together, whatever feels better for you. Hands are going to start down beside your hips this time. I'm going to wiggle a little over so I can move both my arms. You're going to take an inhale, bring the shoulder blades onto the back, find the pubic bone as you lengthen yourself up and off of the floor. So this time, if you want to keep a little bit of awareness on your hip bones, that's fine. Just make sure you're not totally losing the pubic bone. Turn those arms into fists, squeeze them nice and tight. You're gonna rotate the arms so the palms face down, but you're in a fist, right? But that makes sense, right? Rotating so palms face down, but you're in a fist. Can you inhale, reach those arms out into the shape of a T, and then all the way up into a YMCA, and then keep the palms facing the floor. They draw towards each other, and it's as if they want to kind of like pinky knuckle high five over your bum, but they can't. But I just don't want you to stop with your hands at your hips. I want you to imagine they could come behind you. Inhale to open out into the shape of a T, then up like the YMCA. As you exhale, draw the arms down, and then squeeze as if they could come behind you, but they can't. Inhale, open out into a T, and then up overhead in a Y. Your upper body is staying so hovered and connected this whole entire time. Toenails are pressing down, quads are on, glutes are on, belly is on, upper body extensor muscles are like, whoo, hello. 2 more, open up, reach off, show off your armpits to the floor. Exhale, squeeze them in. 1 more time. Inhale to open. Exhale, squeeze them down and then bring them towards your hips, but they're hovered. Rotate it through those arms, palms face the floor. Can we inhale, bend through those elbows and punch out through the heel of your hand for 10. Little baby bend, punch out heel of your hand, 9. Little baby bend. And if there was a hoop behind your elbows or a ball, you would be trying to squeeze that ball. Let's go for 6. Little bend, kick out through heel of hand, 5. Little bend, long from head to tail, 4. Press those toenails into the floor. Quads are on, 3. Glutes are on to support you for 2. 1 more time, pause. Reach through those arms if you can, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Take a nice big breath in through the nose and exhale it out. Place your hands on the floor. Bring yourself all the way up and back into a little bit of a shell stretch here. So if you're happy being belly down, you can stay belly down. If you prefer to flip onto your back and do a twist like we did at the beginning, please feel free. Belly down is feeling good. Walk those hands over to the right. Left hip, drawing back. And if you're on your back and you're doing a side twist, roll your legs over to the left. One more breath in here. Breathing it out, bring yourself back through center all the way around other side. So if you're on the floor, belly down, hands walk over to the left. Right hip draws back. And if you're on your back, just take a flip the other way. Walk your hands through center. Bring yourself all the way up, 1 vertebrae at a time. I'm going to come down so you can see me, but you can be however you need to be. Inhale, nice big reach up overhead. You worked through the whole back chain of your body. We did loads of stuff for shoulder strength and mobilizing. We worked through your abs in a few new ways, exciting ways. We worked your arms at the very end there, so you got a little bit of everything. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Steph,
Thank you.
I'm gonna
Bye.
bye. If it's okay, Steph, I'm